Now, before I come on here and say what I'm going to say for my Monday morning video here, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. Okay? I hope Kenny Pickett's okay. I hope, honestly, he's well enough to play Thursday night. I would never hope for him, let alone anybody else in the NFL, to get hurt. It's good that he was able to come back on the bench on his own power. And, I just wish him well. But with that being out of the way, let me get into what I'm going to say. It's Monday morning, everybody, and I'm back with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, link in the box below. Going to talk about Kenny Pickett in this video. When the Steelers drafted this guy in the first round of the 2022 draft, I have to be honest, I wasn't completely in love with the pick. As a matter of fact, I kind of knew the writing on the wall was there that he was homegrown in our own backyard pretty much, and we had just lost Big Ben to retirement, and I knew offhand that Kevin Colbert, who was still GM at the time, had such an infatuation with Kenny Pickett because he didn't want to make the same mistake pretty much that the Steelers made back in 1983 with passing on Dan Marino. But now it seems like the Steelers went too early to find a new quarterback. And, if you were in my stream, you would have heard me say this about Kenny Pickett. I got nothing against Kenny Pickett as a person, okay? I think he's a smart guy. I think he has a good brain in between his ears. I think he, is a nice guy. I give him a lot of congratulations. I think he's married. I can't remember if he's married or not. I know he's in a relationship, but he's just not good. I just don't see a guy who goes out there and is capable of being a franchise quarterback. And regardless if he is healthy or not to play Thursday night, I really don't think it'd make much of a difference. Because everybody whips on Matt Canada, myself included, and everybody calls out Tomlin, myself included. And I tried so hard to be patient with Kenny Pickett because with me, it's like I'm way more patient with players that the Steelers draft more than I am with players that we get in free agency or trades that we get, because the players we draft, they'll always be Steelers at their root. Players that we get in free agency in a trade, I know what they've done in the NFL, and I have expectations with them. That's why I'm hard on Mitch Trubisky. That's why I'm hard on Isaac Seumalo, who's been trash for us this year, okay? I'm just saying it. And that's why I'm hard on a lot of players that we get, because I know what they're capable or incapable of doing. But I'm more patient with players that we draft. And I tried so hard to be patient with Kenny Pickett. I tried so hard to get on board with him. The thing with Kenny Pickett is it's kind of like being in a bad relationship, It's like you're in a bad relationship that everybody else can see that it's bad for you. You know what I'm talking about. Guys and girls out there, it's like, everybody keeps, all your family members, all your friends, everybody they all say to you, oh, she's not right for you, or he's not right for you. This woman's not the person for you. This man's not the person for you. And you defend her. You defend them, It's like, oh, you just don't know her, or oh, you just don't know him. You don't see the good side of her, or you don't see the good side of him. But deep down inside, you know how they really are. But you defend them and you give every benefit of the doubt to them because you want to believe so hard that you want to make that relationship or that marriage or whatever work. But you know it's for a hopeless cause. That's what I feel about with Kenny Pickett. I've defended him so hard. I've given him every benefit of the doubt. I've tried to be there for him. And for a while, it seemed like my faith in him would be restored based off the 2 previous games where he had lengthy touchdown passes. But other than that, Kenny Pickett has played terrible this year. I'm just coming out and saying it. And I'm pretty much at the point to where I'm done with him. We don't have a good quarterback on this team. Sure, Mitch Trubisky's awful, okay? He is. He's awful. He threw 2 interceptions today. In my opinion, he threw 3 picks today on Sunday. But Kenny Pickett also should have had a pick as well. And that just goes back to what I'm saying about Kenny Pickett. When I see this guy go out on the field, okay, like I said, I got nothing against him personally. I think he's a good guy. I think he's smart. I think he's intellectually smart. He's just not good. And that happens with players, okay? He's not mentally capable enough of being a starter in this league. And I don't think it's for lack of effort, okay? Because I'm not saying he's going out there and he's not trying, okay? I think he has a terrible situation with him with a trash offensive coordinator and a trash head coach, okay? But he has talent around him to succeed. And like I said, I don't think it's for lack of effort. Because I see him, I see how much work, how much effort he puts in. He's just not good. And it's just the same mistakes that this guy makes every single week that I see him play. I mean, don't get me wrong. The entire offense was bad again. And you can chop it down to Matt Canada's play calling, which the play calling was god-awful. I ain't, sitting down here and sugarcoating anything with that. The entire offense was bad. But there was a reason at the beginning of the season and all off-season I was saying there's no more holding Kenny Pickett's hand. He's a second-year starter in the league. He played pretty much 3/4 of last season where he showed glimpses that he has potential to be a starter in this league with all the game-winning drives that he had for us and the clutch moments that he had. But then I remembered something. Every quarterback can go out there and have a game-winning drive. And if you're just going to focus on stuff like that and not focus on the stuff that's been holding him back from being the best quarterback that he can possibly be, you're being a homer. Plain and simple. Because I see a guy who overworks in the pocket. I see a guy who is a one-read quarterback. I see a guy who over-pursues every single pass that he tries to make. And a guy who just doesn't ever come up with fixing his mechanics. And you see it when we're at the goal line coming off of Kazie's interception. It wasn't, I think it said it was Keanu Neal in my post game, but it was Kazie. I'm sorry. I was just so frustrated after the game. But off of Kazie's off of picking off Trevor Lawrence in the end zone, Kazie's interception, Kenny Pickett played so well on that drive. And I was very disappointed at the end of it because he got us to the goal line. And you see how badly it comes back to haunt him because he missed Deontay Johnson by like 2 or 3 seconds on that read, and he missed him real bad. Do I think Deontay Johnson still could have made a play on that pass? Yes, I do. But it was, again, it goes back to what I was saying about Kenny Pickett. This defense came up with 3 turnovers for him, more than enough for him to get a drive going, more than enough for him to lead the offense down the field like he's supposed to. And the only points that we were able to get off of all 3 turnovers that the defense came up with was a field goal. And like I said, that goes back to execution, it goes back to coaching, and it goes back to how the players themselves play. Because the problems with the Pittsburgh Steelers, okay, everybody has their own opinion. But with me, the problems with the Pittsburgh Steelers, obviously it starts with Art Rooney II. Then I would say it's Mike Tomlin. Then it's Matt Canada. And then I'd say it's Kenny Pickett. Okay? Kenny Pickett is a top 5 culprit and a top 5 problem with this team right now. And every week it becomes more and more evident that he's just not the guy moving forward. I mean, like I said, we had early mistakes going on, and people can sit back and say, well, he can lead a fourth quarter comeback. Well, he plays with ice in his veins when he really wants to. And, he shows up in the second half. But I counter that with saying, doesn't that just prove my point even more with Kenny Pickett? If you're not being productive for 3 quarters of the game and you just wait until the fourth quarter to play your best brand of football, you're not a good quarterback. The early mistakes that Kenny Pickett had in yesterday's game, it should not have to warrant this team constantly coming back to win a game. The 4 straight 3-and-outs that the Steelers had to start the game, not getting a first down until the second quarter, coming off Kazie's interception. Kenny Pickett constantly overshooting receivers. Kenny Pickett constantly staring down receivers. Kenny Pickett constantly having passes that should be picked off, but they're dropped or they're misplayed. Because, in my honest opinion, Kenny Pickett has 4 or 5 interceptions on the season? He should honestly have about 11 or 12 picks, if I'm being honest with you. He should have at least double the amount of interceptions that he has right now. And last year it was the opposite. He had 9 interceptions last year? And a lot of those interceptions weren't his fault. Like I said, I sat down here and I defended him, saying that a lot of the interceptions that Kenny Pickett had weren't completely his fault. They were very unfortunate. They were very misleading. Give the kid a break. He will grow and he will blossom into a good quarterback. It hasn't worked out this year. And I don't think he has given me no reason to believe that it's going to work out with him. The bad news for us is that even if you take Kenny Pickett out of the equation, you still got Mitch Trubisky, who's a bum. And at this point, Mason Rudolph is probably your best backup quarterback. But we know that the Steelers are never going to put Mason Rudolph in that situation because for whatever reason, he just has the shackles on him and they have too much faith in Mitch Trubisky. And we're stuck with Kenny Pickett until at least 2026. Look, I'm always gonna say, I will always cheer for Kenny Pickett as long as he dons this logo and as long as he takes the field for us. I will always cheer for him. Don't get me wrong. I will never cheer for him to have a bad game. I will never cheer for him to screw up a drive. I will never cheer for him to get hurt nonetheless. But I just don't see a guy who can lead this team and can lead this offense into being an elite team. It's like, and for the people that are Kenny Pickett fans, all right, and for the people that constantly defend this guy, saying, well, sure, Kenny Pickett throws interceptions, and sure, Kenny Pickett over-maneuvers himself in the pocket, but he could still lead fourth quarter comebacks. Like I said, And it's with the analogy that I use all the time with stuff like this. Say you're trying to lose weight, okay? And you only log the good stuff in your Fitbit app or your MyFitnessPal app or Mad Muscles app, whatever it is that you use to log your calories with. It's like you're trying to drop weight, and it's like, oh, sure, I went to McDonald's and had, I had a Big Mac and I had a large chocolate shake, and then later on I had 3 pieces of cake, and, I don't know, I had, you get it. Like, that's well over 3,000 calories right there. A large fry from McDonald's, and then late at night I had, late at night I had another thing of ice cream and a bag of chips. That's well over 4,000 calories, by the way. So sure, I ate all the bad stuff, but I'm only going to log the salad that I ate. I'm only going to log the chicken that I ate. I'm only going to log the eggs and, the kale and the spinach that I ate. I'm only going to log the good stuff that I ate. And you wonder why you can't lose weight. You wonder why that you're constantly plateauing. That's what it is with Kenny Pickett. I just don't see a guy who improves. I don't see a guy who just goes out there and can lead this team to a win. I just don't see it. When Big Ben was here, I've said this a million times about Big Ben. Big Ben liked playing under pressure. Big Ben liked leading this team to a fourth quarter comeback. Big Ben was all about stuff like that. Every time you put the ball in Big Ben's hands when we were trailing in the fourth quarter and we needed a game-winning drive, even if the Steelers lost, I always felt like we were going to win with Ben. Because that's the type of quarterback Ben was. There's a difference between being good and being a winner. Okay? Quarterbacks like Justin Herbert are good quarterbacks. Who else? Jared Goff is a good quarterback. But would I say, Kirk Cousins, he's a good quarterback. But are they winners? I wouldn't say they're winners. Because they're the types of quarterbacks to where you would actually want to have the ball be in their hands when they need their team to score a touchdown to win the game. They're not clutch. All right? Big Ben was clutch. And he was good. He was both. Like I said, you put the ball in Big Ben's hands when we need a game-winning drive, I always felt like we were going to win, even if we lost. I always felt like we were going to win. I don't get that sense with Kenny Pickett. I really don't. Let alone with Trubisky. But I don't get that sense with Kenny Pickett. And that win against the Ravens, I mean, that touchdown pass shouldn't have even happened because the Ravens kept screwing everything up. And you know as well as I do, that statement that I keep saying about our win against the Ravens and our win against the Rams, we only won those 2 games because both those teams kept making mistakes. They left points off the board. They couldn't catch passes. They kept turning the ball over. They never made any adjustments. They got cute offensively. Kenny Pickett's best game this year happened a month and a half ago in Vegas. And he hasn't looked good since then. He really hasn't. I look at other teams in the league. I'll be honest. I look at other teams in the league. I'm so jealous of what they have at quarterback. The Bills with Josh Allen, even though Josh Allen hasn't been particularly great this year, he's a good quarterback, Josh Allen with the Bills. Jalen Hurts in Philly. Mahomes. As much as I hate to say it, Joe Burrow and Lamar. Brock Purdy. Geno Smith I'll even throw in there. Kirk Cousins. Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. You know, I'm so jealous of what those teams have at quarterback. And I look at our quarterback and Kenny Pickett, he don't got that. He just don't. And like I said, I don't think it's for lack of effort. Because I can tell that he's trying so hard. He's just not good. That's all there is to it. So, I hope to God that like 3 months from now or something, people come back to this video, you know, and not even that. I hope like 2-3 years from now or whatever, people come back to this video and go like, wow, this guy gave up on Kenny Pickett way too early. This guy doubted Kenny Pickett after a loss to a good Jacksonville team. And now Kenny Pickett's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I hope to God I am totally wrong about this video down the line. But all I'm saying right now, October 29th, 2023, is I just don't see it with Kenny Pickett. Regardless of who we start Thursday night against the Tennessee Titans, I don't have a good feeling that they can get the job done. If we do beat Tennessee, it's going to be because of the defense once again. Plain and simple. Even the Titans, you know, Will Levis lit up Atlanta. They have a top 5, Atlanta has a top 5 defense entering Sunday. Will Levis made them look like a junior varsity high school team. Will Levis. I'll even throw C.J. Stroud up there. I'll even throw a healthy Anthony Richardson up there. The whole AFC South has good quarterbacks. You know, good to very good quarterbacks. And Kenny Pickett's easily the worst quarterback in the division. I even think he's worse than Deshaun Watson at this point. At least Deshaun Watson has the experience. But anyway, I've gone on enough. Kenny Pickett, like I said, I'll always root for him as long as he's a Steeler, but sorry guys, I just don't see it with him. I really don't. And that's all I gotta say. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. This is Mac checking on out for the day. Have a good one, everybody.